Hello and welcome to the video. This is my overview and review of this thing here. This is one of the latest little whoops from HGLRC. This is the Petrel 65. Now this is available as both just the quadcopter little whoop on its own, or it can come as a ready to fly set with a simple set of FPV goggles and also the Radiomaster T8 radio. I've actually looked at that separately on the channel in the past, and it's actually not a bad kit. But as we're coming into the winter months here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's time to get the whoops back out to keep all those muscle memories and skills in top form. Now, I use whoops a little bit in the winter months along with simulators because I just can't get out and fly as much as I can with the windy, wet weather. Now this is described as a 1S brushless starter tiny whoop, so interested to see how this performs and how sedate it is. The fact it's calling it a starter tiny whoop says to me that this is not going to be a little powerhouse, it's going to be a great little quad for exploring indoors. So let's have a look at this little quadcopter and see how it holds up to that description. So while I take it out of the box, let's go through some of the specs. So again, this is the Petrel 65 whoop. This is the model only. This isn't the kit. The kit comes in a little case with everything that you need. Wheelbase is 65mm. The propellers on this are 31mm, and the frame size is 82 by 82mm. Love the fact again that Cyclone FPV are available as a repair center for North American people. Actually, I would love HGLRC to also have one here in Europe. Flight controller in this is a Zeus 5 all-in-one 1-2S flight controller, and that has SPI receiver built in as well, and that SPI receiver will talk FreeSky D16 and also FreeSky D8 protocols. That is paired with a Zeus Nano 350mW VTX. Interesting note here, don't know whether people are trying to fly it without charging the batteries. Not sure why you would do that, but we're definitely going to charge the batteries before we fly this. And as I take it out here, you can see it's a pretty standard little whoop. However, nice to see the antenna for the receiver sticking out the side like this. That should help with the range. Not a huge fan of integrated SPI receivers myself. Under here we also have this little adapter. Not sure what that is for because you can get to the USB port easily. These are the little props, spare set in here as well, which is very handy, although I haven't managed to break one yet. A couple of little tools, little Phillips screwdriver if you want to get into things. And at the very bottom you have a prop removal tool, no screws holding everything on. Nice cable to plug it in to charge it, and also another cable to plug it in to your computer as well. And then the only other thing we have are two little batteries. You're going to get about 2.5 minutes out of each of these. We'll come on to flying in a minute. 300 milliampere hours, single 1S batteries, and they fit beautifully underneath. Camera in this is a Cadix Ant. The Ant's okay for these kind of things. I guess you don't want a really heavy camera. The little motors on this are very cute. They're 0802 25,000 kV brushless motors, and again those props are Gemfan 1219 3-bladed props and with a spare set. So let's plug it into Betaflight and have a look at how that looks. So clicking connect, standard stuff in here. Let's have a look at how everything's set up. Everything's moving nicely on the desk. Again, you can easily plug the cable in the bottom, so there's no issues with that. Data flash has something in it, which means it's been tested. Tick V-Good HGLRC. Just the tramp stuff set up on ports. Motor direction reversed. D-Shock 600. 8K gyro, 4K PID loop. This is a nice little quad setup here, not an F7. Air mode's permanently turned on, and you can see everything's pretty standard. Power and battery look like this. Failsafe is set to drop. The receiver is going to need to be bound. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Your on-screen display is going to need a little bit of TLC along with your modes. Put a dump and diff links down below if you want to go and have a look at how everything is set up. So really nothing to write home about here. Very basic setup. The only thing I'll show you is how to actually bind the receiver in this. Is an integrated SPI style receiver. So you just need to put bind_RX. That will start the binding process. Go into the bind for the radio that you're using, and then that's pretty standard. You don't get any kind of confirmation when you're happy that everything seems to be okay and you've given it 4 or 5 seconds for everything to figure itself out. Then just go and save it here in the CLI, come out of bind mode on your radio, and you should be good. In terms of flying, there is the little charger that comes in the side of the box. You can just plug the 2 batteries into that. They don't take too long to charge. The other thing I'd recommend is that this hasn't got a ton of power. This is hovering at quite a decent amount of throttle. So I've put a throttle curve in here just to make it easier to do hovering and indoor exploration. Again, I'll put the link down below if you want to go and watch my video on how you figure that out and how you set it up. In terms of the noise from this thing, it's exactly as you'd expect from any kind of whoop. Nothing really exciting to write home about. In terms of the camera performance of the Ant, it's exactly what you expect from this. Seems to be locked to NTSC. Hovering about 2/3 throttle, so this isn't a powerhouse, but it's absolutely fine for that kind of 1S exploration of an indoor space. Getting about 2 to 2.5 minutes of flight time on a single battery, so not tons. I would have liked a little bit more, but the tuner performance is really nice. Lots of expo, rates are good. It is very easy once you have a little bit of a throttle curve set up around the hover point for this to be a very gentle explorer. Perfect for doing things like practicing your line of sight nose in hovering, or just sticking your goggles on and kind of exploring the house and chasing the dog. So as usual with pretty much all the HGLRC quads, there's a lot to like about this. I like the fact that spare props and all the tools are in the kit, including a prop removal tool. The build quality on this little thing is excellent, and the flying that I've been doing on it, it has survived bouncing off doors, landing upside down, crashing into stuff without any problems at all. Nothing has broken. So there's some really nice choices on here for endurance and longer life with those brushless motors and the way that everything is put together. Some nice touches like the vibration mounts for the top shell and camera as well, and the noise is about what you'd expect for a standard whoop scream, but a little bit less. Again, this isn't an absolute powerhouse. This is a little bit calmer than some of the whoops that I've had in. The tune is very smooth and very nice to fly, and again, the average endurance of a 1S battery on this thing with the ones that are supplied with it, it's only maximum of about 2.5 minutes. Couple of things to note, it is the Ant camera in here. It's not one of my favourite cameras, but it actually, as you've seen, works fine indoors. Not sure what the USB adapter in here is for, because you can easily get to the USB port underneath to plug it into the computer to change things like how the modes are set up, and also change things like how the OSD is laid out. And I would recommend getting more batteries and a better charger. The fact that you're only going to get a maximum of 5 minutes flight time out of those 2 batteries before you have to put everything away and go and charge the batteries again is a bit of a shame. So if you're going to buy one of these, I would recommend invest in at least another couple of batteries to give yourself a half decent amount of flying time. So in summary, this is a very solid little 1S whoop, perfect for flying in tighter spaces indoors and practicing in the dark winter months when you can't fly outside. The lack of power on this and the very calm flying characteristics absolutely do make it feel like it's aimed squarely at the beginner. However, if you are an experienced pilot, there's still lots of fun to be had here exploring indoors when you can't get outside. Longer flight times and a better camera would have been nice upgrades, but this, if you're looking for a 1S whoop to try it out, is a very good package that works well. Thank you for spending your time today watching that video. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you're trying to learn about a subject, then check out the playlist. All of my videos are organized into easy to follow playlists that, if you're trying to learn a topic, will take you from the basics right the way through to some pretty advanced stuff.